September 1997. A dimly lit conference room in Toyota City, Japan. Nobuaki Katayama, chief engineer of Toyota's performance division, stands before a projection screen showing dyno charts that made Honda's engineers look like amateurs. The engine on the screen, Toyota's latest iteration of the 3S-GE with their new beams technology, is making 210 horsepower from 2.0L naturally aspirated at 8,200 revolutions per minute. But that's not the shocking part. The shocking part is the torque curve. Flat, impossibly flat. From 2,000 revolutions per minute to 8,000 revolutions per minute, the engine barely drops below 90% of peak torque. It's a characteristic that Honda's VTEC engines, for all their high RPM glory, could never achieve. One executive breaks the silence. When do we announce this? Katayama's response stuns the room. We don't. Not fully. If Honda sees what we've built, they'll know we've solved the problem they've been chasing for a decade. The executive leans forward. You're telling me we built an engine that's objectively better than VTEC, and you want to hide it? Not hide it, Katayama says carefully. Undermarket it. Let it speak for itself, but quietly. This is the story of the Beam's 3S-GE, the engine that beat Honda at their own game, then disappeared into obscurity because Toyota refused to brag about it, and why the few people who discovered it call it the greatest naturally aspirated four-cylinder Toyota ever built. The VTEC problem Toyota couldn't ignore. To understand the Beam's 3S-GE, you need to understand Toyota's frustration. In the early 90s, Honda was dominating the sport compact conversation with one technology, VTEC. By 1995, Honda had convinced an entire generation of enthusiasts that variable valve timing was their invention, that high-revving, naturally aspirated engines were Honda's domain, that if you wanted a screaming four-cylinder with 100-plus horsepower per liter, you bought a Honda. And Toyota was making reliable, boring engines that moved Corollas and Camrys. Their performance image was dead. The Supra had the 2JZ, sure, but that was a turbo engine, a different category entirely. In the naturally aspirated sport compact world, Honda owned the conversation. The Integra Type R, the Civic Si, the S200 on the horizon. Every automotive journalist was writing love letters to VTEC's high RPM magic. Toyota's engineers watched with growing irritation because they knew something Honda didn't want to admit. VTEC had a fatal flaw. The problem with Honda's VTEC system was simple. It was binary. Below the engagement point, you had one cam profile. Above it, you had another. The transition was violent, dramatic, and addictive, but it meant the engine had two distinct personalities. Docile below 5,800 revolutions per minute. Insane above it. For street driving, this was problematic. You were either in the wrong part of the power band or screaming the engine. There was no middle ground. Toyota's engineers saw an opportunity. What if they could build an engine with VTEC's high RPM power, but without the peaky delivery? What if they could make an engine that was fast everywhere, not just at redline? The project was called Beams, Breakthrough Engine with Advanced Mechanism System. And the engine they chose to showcase it was the 3S-GE, Toyota's venerable 2.0L four-cylinder that had been powering everything from the MR2 to the Celica since 1986. But this wouldn't be another evolution of the 3S-GE. This would be a complete reinvention, an engine designed to embarrass Honda's best work. The engine Honda didn't see coming. The Beam's 3S-GE program started in 1995 with a directive from Toyota's executive board. Beat VTEC without copying it. Honda had patents on their variable valve timing technology. Toyota couldn't just build a VTEC clone. They had to innovate, and they had to do it while maintaining Toyota's reputation for reliability and drivability. The engineering team, led by Katayama, started with the existing 3S-GE block, but that's where the similarities ended. Everything else was new. The first innovation was Toyota's VVT-i, variable valve timing with intelligence system, which continuously adjusted the intake cam timing based on engine speed and load. Unlike Honda's binary VTEC, which switched between two fixed profiles, VVT-i smoothly adjusted timing across the entire RPM range. But VVT-i alone wasn't enough. It could optimize valve timing, but it couldn't change valve lift. And valve lift was critical for high RPM power. So Toyota added a second system, one they had been developing in secret for 3 years. VVL, Variable Valve Lift. This was Toyota's answer to VTEC. But instead of switching between two cam profiles, VVL used a sophisticated hydraulic mechanism that could progressively change valve lift based on RPM and throttle position. The result was an engine that could run with low valve lift for efficiency and drivability at low RPM, then smoothly transition to high lift for power at high RPM. No sudden kick, no abrupt transition, Just seamless, progressive power delivery. But the real genius was in the execution. The head that changed everything. The beam's 3S-GE cylinder head was a masterpiece of engineering. Toyota's engineers had studied Honda's VTEC system obsessively, looking for weaknesses to exploit. They found two. First, Honda's VTEC heads had large, free-flowing intake ports optimized for high RPM breathing. This gave Honda engines their incredible top-end power, but it hurt low RPM velocity, which killed low-end torque. Second, Honda's combustion chambers were designed around their high-compression, high RPM philosophy. They worked brilliantly at 8,000 revolutions per minute, but they weren't optimized for the mid-range where most people actually drove. Toyota took the opposite approach. They designed the beam's head to be excellent everywhere, not just at redline. The intake ports were smaller than Honda's, with more aggressive shaping. This increased air velocity at low RPM. Improving cylinder filling and boosting low-end torque. At high RPM, when air velocity naturally increased, the VVL system would increase valve lift to compensate for the smaller ports. The combustion chambers were designed using computational fluid dynamics to optimize flame propagation across the entire RPM range. The spark plug was positioned for maximum efficiency at 4,000 revolutions per minute, not 8,000, because Toyota knew that's where most customers would spend most of their time. And the valve train was obsessive. Toyota used lightweight titanium valves with DLC, diamond-like carbon coating on the stems, to reduce friction. The valve springs were progressively wound with tighter coils at the top to prevent surge at high RPM. The camshafts were hollow, saving weight and reducing rotational inertia. Every component was designed to rev freely while maintaining perfect control. The beam's 3S-GE was engineered to safely rev to 8,400 revolutions per minute. But unlike Honda engines that felt breathless below 6,000 revolutions per minute, the beams pulled hard from 2,000 revolutions per minute all the way to redline. The intake system nobody expected. But Toyota's most brilliant innovation was hidden: the intake manifold. Honda's intake manifolds were designed for maximum high RPM flow, long, equal-length runners tuned to create resonance at peak power RPM. They looked beautiful, they sounded amazing, and they killed mid-range torque. Toyota built something different, something controversial, something that made Honda's engineers wonder if Toyota had figured out something they'd missed. The beam's 3S-GE used what Toyota called an ACIS intake manifold, acoustic control induction system. It sounds boring. It's anything but. The manifold had two sets of runners: short runners for high RPM power, long runners for low RPM torque, and a sophisticated vacuum-actuated valve system that would switch between them based on engine speed. The transition was seamless. You couldn't feel it. You couldn't hear it. But on a dyno, the difference was dramatic. The beam's 3S-GE made 142 pound-feet of torque at 2,000 revolutions per minute.